Welcome in to another episode of the Blue Coats Beat here on DE-TV. The Blue Coats Beat, an inside look at the Delaware Blue Coats, both on the court and in the community, featuring special guests throughout the year. And the Blue Coats, of course, the NBA G League affiliate of the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm Matt Murphy, pleased to be with you, alongside my partner, Blue Coats ambassador of basketball, Joe Richmond.
What's going on, Matt?
And our guest today is Blue Coats big man, Doral Moore.
Happy to be here, man.
It's great to have you, Doral, and we look forward to chatting with you on the show today. But Joe, before we get there, we got to talk about Coats in the community as well. But even before that, we'd be remiss not to talk about, as we record this on Monday, the 27th of January, we need to talk about the unfortunate passing of Kobe Bryant. And we're not going to delve super deep, but something we definitely have to address because it's a recent event, of course. And I know it hits close to home for you. For those who don't know, I know you have a relationship with Kobe's father, having been a teammate of his.
We all back in the day, everybody came to the Sunny Hill Baker League, and I had the pleasure of playing with Jelly Bean for one season, and it was just an amazing opportunity. I used to always laugh because he used to always tell me to take the ball. I was like, Joe, take the ball. I pass it to me and go in the corner. I know he would never give it back. But I know where Kobe got that Mamba mentality from, because he got it from his dad. But it does hit home. All the basketball I've done, I've never got to meet Kobe, but it did hit home. And for all the other individuals that lost their lives, we say a prayer to their families as well.
Yeah, our thoughts and prayers to everyone involved with that unfortunate situation. But our show does go on today, and let's start with Coats in the community, which we do talk about towards the beginning of every show here on DE-TV, yes, on the Blue Coats Beat. And books and basketball, the program, our children's literacy program that we talk about a lot with Joe Richmond and Aris Watson, with mascot Cody spearheading that effort in the local community and beyond. That's off and running, and what's the recent update around the books and basketball
this
program?
Morning we was at St. Peter's downtown when we to Delaware, and it was amazing. Maddie, I'm going to tell you, it was the most quiet school we ever done all 2 years.
That could be good for the teachers, but we need them hyped up for books and basketball.
But once we got it cooking, and once they saw it, they got a little loose, and it was so, the sisters were there, and they were so engaged, and, Aris does his thing, and Cody is amazing. And once again, Cody is undefeated. Camera. Cody is still undefeated and the dance off.
Not surprising. That does not surprise me. Cody is a great dancer.
We gave out some great books today, some really great books. The kids, it was amazing.
Let's bring Doral in, a 7'1" big man for this Delaware Blue Coats team. And Doral, happy belated birthday, just turned 23.
Appreciate it.
January 21st.
January 21st, so fresh off his 23rd birthday. The team is playing well right now as we record, 16-11, right in the mix in the Eastern Conference, and 2 big wins this past weekend at 76ers Fieldhouse. We'll preview some of the upcoming games later in the show, but 2 huge wins where the team scored 134 points in both games, Friday and Saturday, outscored the opponents by 70. Didn't really stand a chance, but Doral, it's great to have you, and you were acquired heading into this season by Delaware. So what's the adjustment been like on the court and off the court to being here in the Delaware community?
Off the court, I would say the weather. Playing in Memphis, being from Georgia is, the cold is a different animal. So I had to adjust to that. But I would say on the court, definitely a good adjustment for me because, Philly, Delaware, they love to play with bigs. They love to utilize their bigs in this big defensive group. So, it's good for me because I'm a good defensive player, big-time defender, shot blocker, rebounder. So I fit in perfect like a puzzle.
Yeah, I think so. The way these guys have been playing, we had Coach Isaiah Fox on the show, who works a lot with Doral and the big men, Joe. But in terms of getting these guys adjusted to Delaware, you need to help them out a little bit. You know this community. You can help them with the weather, everything.
But we already do a great job with it because they got the great Blue Coats gear. And as you see, me and Matty Ice, we rocking the new Blue Coats gear. This is hot right here. And that's hot. But you see our players, they're outfitted with the great gear. And it does take some time getting adjusted to the weather. And but you know what? Once you get into it and once you get to the field house, it's all good by then.
Yeah,
right. Once you're inside and the game starts, it's all good. Good thing it's an indoor sport. By the way, the gear, as we said on the last show, it's available at the game. So if you come out to 76ers Fieldhouse, all new gear, different brands, different styles, men's and women's, kids, everything you need to get swagged out, and it's available at the Blue Coats games at 76ers Fieldhouse. But Doral, keeping it with your upbringing, your background a little bit, you mentioned you're from the South, and you ended up playing. Before we get to your college experience, let's talk about high school, because there's connections to the 76ers organization. You played at Montverde Academy in Florida, and a couple of your teammates were 76ers All-Star Ben Simmons, as well as your current Blue Coats teammate, Christ Koumadje. So what was your high school playing experience like?
Well, I played, I would say at first it was a bit of an adjustment because I played at public school for 3 years, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so you finished.
Yeah,
Yep.
I just did my senior year at Montverde because one of my coaches left, took another job. So I was like, why not, play at the highest level I can before, prepare myself for college. So I, ended up playing with Ben and Chris.
Wow.
And it was a fun experience, I would say. We won a national championship.
Wow.
Great experience, and, I'll never forget it.
And Joe, now Doral is in the same organization as Ben and Chris, so everything came full circle this year. And Chris, one of the many talented big men that the Blue Coats have in this rotation, so they've been a key part of the success that this team has had playing with the traditional bigs.
And it's amazing why, and people wonder why we mesh so fast because of those connections, and now that people can see how the puzzle's coming together. And that's why, because our defensive side of the basketball is like none other in the league, and it's attributed to him and Chris and the rest of them, as far as Haywood, as far as Washburn and all those guys and the guards is pressuring. So we're off, and this guy right here has been amazing.
And then at the college level, it was Wake Forest under Danny Manning for 3 seasons. Your last season there, almost 70% from the field, pretty close to that right now in a Blue Coats uniform as well. But that was a single season record at Wake Forest for Doral in terms of field goal percentage. So at Wake Forest, what was that experience like playing college ball?
Like I said, beginning of high school adjustment in college too. First 2 years I struggled a little bit, trying to, find myself, find my game a little bit more. And, my junior year, I just, put in the work, I put in the time, and I just went out there and just did what I had to do, which is dunk the ball. So
yeah, we will talk about that in a second. We had Trevor Cooney on this show recently, who's obviously involved over at 76ers Fieldhouse with BPG Sports, but he's also an ACC guy, played at Syracuse, and I asked him about memorable games and memorable opponents, things like that. So what jumps out to you in terms of your Wake Forest career and some of the memorable games that you played in any of those 3 seasons, or some of the memorable individual opponents that you matched up with?
I would say one of the most memorable games is when we beat Louisville at home and everybody stormed the court. That was a good feeling because I never experienced that feeling, by the way, but like we beat Louisville, they're a ranked team at the time, and we just beat them at home and just, we weren't ranked at the time. They were like top 10, so everybody stormed the court, so that was a great feeling. Perfectly
acceptable situation to storm the court when you're not ranked and the other team is. Otherwise, the line gets a little gray, Joe, in terms of storming the court. But another ACC guy on the show, that level of competition certainly bodes well at the next level, I would say, playing at that high of a level in college.
Well, just for him playing with for the great Danny Manning. Danny Manning, first-round draft pick, I think 1988, somewhere around there.
Right.
Just the things that you could learn from him as a big man, because Danny could get up and down the court, handle the ball, short, inside, outside. So I was just wondering, for me, because I was a Danny Manning fan, how did that feel playing for him, learning from him? And I think they have 2 other coaches on the staff that played in the NBA. I'm not sure of their names, but I know Danny Manning was that key catalyst person for you. How was it playing for Danny and the things that he could teach you and get you prepared for the next level?
He's a great coach, great person on and off the court. He's a great mentor to have around because he teaches you the ropes a lot. And he has a lot. He's just very wise about what he does. He just has that wisdom about him. He knows what I'm going through. He knows the ropes, and he's just a good, guided person who guides you in the right way.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that the success that the Delaware Blue Coats are having so far past the midway point of the NBA G League season, a winning record by a few games. The big men have showed out. Yourself, a lot of big dunks, a lot of big blocks for you and Chris and Norvell and everybody on the squad. What does your time right now in Delaware, your time in the G League, represent in your young basketball journey?
This is definitely like some of the best basketball I've played in my career. As far, just the way we handle things. The coaches develop us great communicating with us, great working with us. All that stuff is great, and I'm just happy to be here, because I'm playing the best basketball I've been playing in a while. So I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, and if we keep it up, you're going to be getting stormed on the court in a couple more, in another month or so when we get there.
For sure.
I wanted to ask, before we wrap things up, I wanted to ask about your preference, a big block or a big dunk, because you do them both.
I would say big dunk. That's just my personal preference.
I think
You
Chris
so effortless, though.
might be the other way around. Chris might be a big block because you see him
Yeah.
throw the thumbs down all the way
Yeah.
down the court.
Yeah.
Sometimes that gets him in trouble. Sometimes,
Yeah, he has that signature.
yeah. We got to start getting that going on social media with the thumbs down emoji for Chris, and maybe we'll think of something for you. Do you have an emoji you want us to use? We got to think of something.
I have to think about it more.
We'll think about that for a big Doral Moore dunk. But upcoming games at the Fieldhouse, Joe, we don't have a home game for a little bit now, as I said, recording this late January on a Monday, but February 5th,
Yep.
baseball night, and that's going to be against the Windy City Bulls. It's a Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and the Wilmington Blue Rocks, the champion Wilmington Blue Rocks minor league
Yes.
baseball team, they're going to be a part of that night. So for tickets, Sixers.com/Bluecoats, and February 13th as well, another home
That's
game.
gonna
So
be
those are the
an
next two.
amazing game.
Stockton
Yes.
Kings, and that one is Esports Night featuring 76ers GC, the NBA 2K team of the Sixers. Do you play video games, Doral?
Oh, for sure.
You play 2K?
Yeah,
We're going to have to match you up with some of those 76ers GC guys. They're legit.
I don't know about. I'll try, man. I'm not a pro at that. That's gonna be tough.
Oh, man.
But we're looking forward to it. Again, Sixers.com/Bluecoats. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Blue Coats Beat here on DETV. For our entire DETV crew, including Ivan Thomas and Dennis Pritchett, and our guest, Doral Moore of the Blue Coats, and of course, my partner, Joe Richmond.
And
Blue
shout out
Coats.
my boy Mario, who did a little work today getting the big fella here. We appreciate it.
Mario Hicks with the
Yes.
Blue Coats basketball ops staff, and that's Joe Richmond, our ambassador of basketball. I'm Matt Murphy. Stay tuned for our healthy lifestyle feature presented by our friends at Christiana Care as we wind things up on this episode, but we will talk to you next time on the Blue Coats Beat here on DETV.